Welcome to CAM Matters, Condos, Co-ops, HOAs, and beyond. Betsy Barbieux is an informational leader in Florida on community association living, rights, and obligations. She is an expert on the rights and obligations of owners as well as the association. If you live or are planning to live in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you'll be part of a community association. And by the end of this show, you'll know a little bit more about community associations and why they matter.
And welcome to the August 2025 episode of CAM Matters. I'm Suzanne Lynn with Betsy Barbieux, and we have an amazing guest this month, which really kind of dovetails off of the questions and what the show we did last month. So I'm excited to jump into this. Betsy, would you like to introduce your guest?
We have Dominique Rodriguez. She is from AAIM, and I met her here in Leesburg at our Lake Sumter Society for Human Resource Management luncheon. And I've spoken several times before that I'm a member of SHRM. I'm not an HR professional at all, but I belong to that group because I get to meet people like Dominique. Mm-hmm. And she was talking at our table about her services, and I thought, man, managers and small management companies need to know about this because we need her.
Yeah. Dominique, would you mind giving us just kind of the 40,000 foot view of what AAIM does and is about?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me, Suzanne and Betsy. And it was a pleasure to meet Betsy at the Lake Sumter SHRM chapter meeting. As Betsy said, I am an HR professional. I've worked in HR and operations for about the last 20 years, and I love HR, right? You have to love HR to stay in HR.
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, I work for AAIM Employers Association. And AAIM Employers Association is an employers association that supports employers throughout the United States, small to mid-sized companies with all of their people needs. So we are that phone a friend. We are behind the scenes. We are there to ensure that our employers are well taken care of and that they're taking care of their people. And then we can dive into all of that. But we are one of approximately 30 associations in the United States. We actually were founded in 1898. So a very long time ago.
Yeah, that's a lot of history. I didn't know they needed HR back then, but you know.
Before the Industrial Revolution.
Right, exactly. Give me some examples of specific ways that you help people.
Yes. So our mission is to focus on elevating employers, right? Making them elite employers in the communities that they serve. And how we go about that is ensuring that we're aligned with what their mission is. Mm-hmm. And we can work through those employers and ensuring that they have the proper foundational structure of HR. The bare bones, the basics. Mm-hmm. We're talking compliance. We want to ensure, right, those foundational steps are already set. Mm-hmm. We work all the way through up to leadership development of your people. So we start from compliance and we go all the way through until you actually have to invest in developing your people.
Betsy, I see what got your attention at the table. That word compliance, you're like, oh my goodness, girl, let's sit down. We got to talk. Well, tell me more about what piqued your interest.
When she talks about the basics, I want to kind of like dumb it down even more. When she says, Dominique, when you say foundation, I'm thinking HR manual, employees manual. I'm thinking of knowing what kind of questions you can ask and not ask in an initial interview, the documentation that you can have or not have, and then terminating. There is a lot that can go into terminating an employee to try to avoid an EEOC claim or discrimination claim or age-related claims, any of those kinds of things.
It's easy to cross that line, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you know, there's some things that just seem logical that you could ask and they're not. Yeah. And so foundational, I think when you say the word foundational, I'm thinking like basic HR manual.
Yeah.
Do I have to get them to read it and sign it? What do I do? And I think that you're saying that you're the phone a friend. I think that if I were one of your clients, I would definitely be using you to phone a friend.
Yes. So, and that, that's right, Betsy, because we are working with, again, small to medium sized companies, some that may have 10 employees, all the way up to the hundreds, right?
Or
But
fewer.
or fewer. Some of our members, they may have 4 employees, they may have 6, right? And so I would say the misunderstanding there is that, oh, we don't need to have an employee handbook, or we don't need to have a policy of code of conduct, or we don't need to do these things because we only have 5 people. It's okay. Everybody knows how to behave themselves. No.
Yeah, that
Famous buzzwords, right?
may not be true.
We're dealing with people. We're dealing with emotions and behaviors that are not always appropriate in the workplace, right? And so we are that organization. We're a nonprofit. Okay. So we look at it from that perspective where we are saying how much support do you need? And we're fully invested in your organization. So we really come in looking at everything from the ground up. So to your point, Betsy, it's okay, you don't have an employee handbook. Let's get you started, right? What does that mean? You don't train your employees, right, on sexual harassment, on preventing harassment. You don't do that? Okay, well, we offer that. It's if you're a member of AIM, you are receiving these benefits because we're looking at the entire picture of the organization. We're looking at what can potentially happen, and we're trying to say, let's put all of the foundational pieces in place to get you prepared. If you do grow at some point, you're already prepared. And if you're going to stay at the same head count, that's fine. But let's make sure you protect yourself when it's time to hire or retire somebody out.
And there are also corrective disciplinary procedures, and there's documentation that needs to be done. And I know managers in community associations and in management companies, they're so busy with roof leaks, plumbing leaks, people yelling and screaming at them, trying to understand why the bank statement didn't balance and all these kinds of things. And HR is the last thing on their mind. I know it is.
It is. It is. But guess what? Can that quick text message tell someone that they're fired, right? Can
that get you in trouble? You mean you can't do it that way?
That text, I know. Nope, can't do that, because can that text message telling somebody they're fired turn into a potential EEOC lawsuit, which then you have to come out and potentially reach a settlement? And we're not talking a $1,000 settlement. We're talking minimum $20,000 for the 2 seconds it took you as you were frustrated with that employee who's consistently late. You don't have any documentation on their tardiness, on their absenteeism. You have nothing except your frustration. And you just said, you're fired. Guess what? That employee is going to go right over to a place called the EEOC, right?
Very likely.
Very likely.
And do I understand that the EEOC lawsuits are in federal court, not state court?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? They're in federal court, so that's even more legal fees.
It can take you up to there. And that's why the fees they can be monumental. And so we always think, well, they can go find another job somewhere else. They just weren't working out. They had been behaving this way for a really long time. But we didn't, because we don't know HR, right? Which is what you're telling me. A lot of the communities and the managers, they don't have an HR background. They don't understand what disciplinary action, what a policy looks like for disciplinary action, right? They don't understand what it means to document. You have to protect the organization, right? Treat people well, but also at the same time, protect the organization. And we are the ones to come in and tell you, this is how you do that from step 1 and ongoing.
I'm
That's
thinking,
what I want to jump into. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to come back and let's start with what the typical community association has and
Yeah.
maybe some checks and balances, and we'll get into that. Let's take a quick break.
Are you ready for a new career? Do you have skills or interest in management, real estate, construction, maintenance, accounting, strategic planning, project management, budgets, human resource management, lawn and landscaping, pool services, or any other expertise needed to operate a community association? If you do, community association management could be for you. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Florida Community Association Management continues to grow. Career opportunities abound.
Welcome back to this episode of CAM Matters. We have Dominique Rodriguez from AIM. And Dominique, you were just sharing with us about processes. And I wanted to stop you because I want to slow down and really take a look at this in a strategic way. Betsy, what is a typical process foundation that community living have? What's missing? What are some of the holes and what are the first steps that they could take?
HR manual.
Really?
Well, I think actually I would recommend joining your local SHRM group. And I should give a plug for SHRM here. But managers need to have somebody on their staff who at least has some kind of radar up for HR things so that they can come back and say to their manager or to their supervisor or business owner, whomever at the management company or at the community, that, hey, there are new laws coming out. There's new minimum wage. There's new overtime. There's new exempt, non-exempt. There's all kinds of new stuff coming up. And we don't know any of this stuff. So we either need an HR professional or we need a support organization like AIM that we can call and tell us what we're supposed to do next and what we can and cannot do. I just think our communities and smaller management companies just don't even have radar for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And to that point, Betsy, we partner with SHRM. So one of the associations that we partner with is SHRM and also HRCI, which are all made up of credentialed HR professionals. And for us, it's important that we actually, I can say that AIM over communicates with its members. And we do that again because we're 100% invested in the organization. So you will consistently hear from our teams, whether it's through a blog, an email, a phone call. We check in. How are things going? Did you know that this potentially could impact your organization, right? How are you preparing for it? We have webinars, in-person and virtual roundtables. And I can tell you right now, for the person who has zero clue about HR because they were just thrown into it, or it's a part of one of the many things that they're doing, I love to tell them, you know what, come out to one of our roundtables, whether it's in person or virtual, join us and you will hear so many things you're going to learn. And to your point, it's, Betsy, it's about, that's a red flag that's coming down. I need to be aware. I need to let others in my organization know there's a new law or there's an update. We have to start paying people more, right? We have to update our compliance posters. You won't know that if you're not in the world of HR. So that's how we come and support you.
Yeah. You've mentioned members. So I guess how do we become, if we're interested and want to go forward, how do we become connected with you? How does a management company or a community association like a condominium or a cooperative or a homeowner association, how do we become connected?
Yes. Well, we do operate in several states, but of course, I'm here in the wonderful state of Florida, my home state. And so you can either give me a call at 3, I can give you that information now, or I think you're going to plug it in, Suzanne, into the details. So it's either give me a call, send me an email, and we have our checklist. We have a very quick and easy checklist. If you can check off 3 or more, there it is.
I was going
And,
to say,
and I can
what
make this available
what
to
are
you.
some of the things that make them a right fit?
Yeah.
Some of the
So
big ones. Yeah.
some of the big ones, we do not have a dedicated HR professional on staff. The HR duties are handled by someone who has never gone through on an education or certification basis for HR training. They don't have any clue, but they're handling HR. And most importantly, their concerns about legal compliance, right? They're being in compliance, they have terminations, or they're having employee relations, I would call them challenges, situations. Employee relations is dealing with people, right? You're having some challenges dealing with people. You need to know how to communicate with those people. You need to know what's the right process to take for disciplinary action. And you also need to know how to properly terminate someone to avoid getting into, some deep waters here, deep hot waters. So those I would say are the 3. If you've checked 3 off of that list, you need to phone a friend, and I'm your friend. So,
Love that. Betsy,
And
we talked last month, we were talking about just even onboarding questions, let alone letting go of someone.
right,
We saw the potential problems with just onboarding properly,
yeah.
you know?
And then terminating is dangerous. But then people are going to say, Dominique, they're going to say, but Florida is an at-will state. You can terminate anybody for any reason.
that's
So,
right. But
so,
it does.
so argue with me about that. I mean, refute that, because it is. People will say, well, it's an at-will state. We can just fire anybody for any reason. But then there's a but, isn't there?
Mhm.
There
And it
is a
would be.
Mhm.
And
Because
what would it be?
it would be how you go about terminating the person can be
Such
the
as, such
such
as what's wrong? What's wrong? What would be wrong?
such as we're going to terminate you on the spot today, and you have received outstanding performance reviews, or we're consistently glowing about you and saying you're amazing, and then all of a sudden you show up today and we felt that it was great to just terminate you on the spot. Yes,
Okay.
it's an at-will state, but is there something wrong with that picture, right? Or where you're consistently tardy, you're consistently absent, we have no documentation, we haven't been tracking anything. And all of a sudden, you come in and we said, okay, you're fired on the spot for this reason and this reason, but we have no documentation to prove that. We have
Okay.
nothing in place. We have no communications on it. And so, what we've done is open the possibility that you are going to then, as the employee that was just terminated, you may take that personal and you may say, well, I've always shown up on time. It's the manager that doesn't like me. The manager prefers her or him because they're best friends and they belong to the same club, or they do this together, they do that together. They're now discriminating against me. All it takes is just that one feeling of that employee feeling they were targeted. There's a hostile work environment, and we just decided to terminate you, or you reported that there's a hostile work environment.
Uh-huh.
And in
Retaliation.
retaliation, we have now terminated you.
Okay.
Wow.
So yes, it is an at-will state, but there
That's right.
has to be documentation leading up to the termination.
That's right. We need to have something in place. And when that employee comes to you and says, I'm concerned, my manager has been doing this and this to me, and I have pictures, I have text messages, I have this, and this on my manager who is treating me this way.
Mhm. And then if that employee is a minority or a protected class,
Plus, yes.
um, it's even more dangerous.
It makes it worse. Exactly. So what you're doing as an organization, you are not protecting yourself, right? At will state only means yes, you can terminate at will, and that's fine, but you are not taking the precautionary measures to make sure that you've protected yourself as an organization, and that when you hire someone, they know the expectations. They've been
Mhm.
given the expectations up front. They have signed it, acknowledged it. They've gone through their employee HR compliance training, at least you're doing what you can in the beginning to protect the organization. Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm sufficiently scared to death. What about you, Suzanne?
I'm horrified. I think this was such a great episode, so informative, and to think that it's just one phone call away just to find out, hey, this is our situation. Are we a good candidate? Should we at least come and talk to you about this? I mean, you look at what the consequences could be. It could be millions. I mean, there's a lot on the line.
And we'll put up Dominique's contact information.
Yeah.
I think we can probably get that onto our show somewhere at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think we can get that up, because I want people to be able to call her and talk with her about, do they need her? Are they a good fit?
Right.
And then talk about those membership fees and what those involve and include all of that.
So Dominique, is it basically you're just a member and then you have access to you?
Yes. So we are, again, a membership-based organization. So it is an annual dues amount, and I can tell you it is not $20,000.
Okay.
It's not, which, if you remember, I just mentioned the EEOC lawsuit settlement can be $20,000. But it is an annual dues amount that the organization pays. It is very cost effective. Again, as a not-for-profit, that is the business that we are in, is taking care of elite employers. And so once you become a member, it is instant. You have access to a wealth of online resources, but again, you also have access to a 24/7 HR hotline. You don't need to email in. You don't need to wait for an answer. You can pick up the phone. We have our local office here in Lake Mary, Florida, that serves the Florida community. And we also have HR hotlines throughout the Midwest and the rest of the US. But you pick up the phone and you get a live HR professional that's able to answer your question and give you guidance immediately. So that 6-minute, let's say 10-minute conversation for one with, right? It's going to save you $20,000. I always say that it takes, right? It takes that much time. You can get an answer instantly and then go about your business.
It sounds to me what we're doing when we don't take services like yours is we're taking a chance. We're betting. I rented a car in Florida for a couple of days and I went with the extra insurance because they're like, well, you're covered, but it's a $60,000 car. Like, you know what? And I drove with such peace of mind and joy. They go, if anything happens, you just hand us the keys. You can bring it back on fire. I mean, I'm not encouraging that, but that peace of mind of, man, you don't have to lay in bed. Was that appropriate question to ask on the onboarding, or am I going to regret that? Is this going to come back? Could this close down our business? I mean, reputation management alone is worth it,
Right. And I like that you said that about reputation management, because a lot of employers, a lot of companies think, well, it's okay, we just lost that employee, or they applied, we didn't hire them, we didn't have to tell them anything, like they'll go find another job. Well, what they're now doing is you've started to build your employer brand. We talk about that a lot here, and word gets around.
Sure.
Right. And so you could lose some potential talent because of the way you've treated a former employee or a potential employee. So it's very easy to ruin your reputation in a matter of minutes over something that, again, a phone call away, an email away, you could have asked, AIM and said, is it okay that I do this? Or we have this, or we don't have this.
Right.
What do we need to do to protect ourselves? Very simple.
Very good.
Wow.
Betsy, I'm going to give you the last word here, because this was a home run content. I mean, information was so important.
Yes. I just want to say thank you to Betsy. It was meant to be for us to sit at the same table.
Nothing's a coincidence. Nothing.
No, nothing's coincidence. That's for sure. But it was, she started telling us what she was doing. I went, what? Oh man, we need you.
Yeah. That's so good. Well, thank you so much both for joining today. And Betsy, we can't leave. We're just a few days away.
A week from today is the summit. And look, I have one of my pieces of my costume.
Oh my gosh.
Ready?
It's the flamingo theme.
Got my flamingo.
You came through. You came through big.
I'm gonna wear her. for the event. So everybody is calling me or texting me or emailing me and telling me that they're working on their costumes. So wear a flamingo, bring a flamingo, draw a flamingo. Just don't bring a
How
live
are we
one.
feeling? How are we feeling about? I was going to say, how are we feeling about live ones?
No.
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 Okay.
No.
Okay.
But I have one group that if anybody does bring one, I know who it'll be.
I love it.
Please don't bring a live one.
Don't bring a live
The
one.
community building probably wouldn't appreciate it. We'd have to
Would
set
never
them
be the
loose
same.
in the canals there and let them go through
Oh.
the little waterways there.
Stories, it would be legendary, though. Anyway, well, thank you for joining us. As always, please consider sharing this episode, liking it, giving it a rating, and just sharing with someone verbally about the fact that Betsy invests so much time and energy into doing these shows because she loves community living and she really cares about the community. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you.
Thank you. Thanks,
in
Dominique.
September. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you for listening to CAM Matters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Information provided on this show is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact a licensed attorney for your specific situation.